right, so let's get started in the chair. Let your hands rest into your lap. And let's collectively take a deep breath in through the nose. And take a big breath out the mouth. Take another deep breath in through your nose. And another big breath out your mouth. Good. Inhale, last time, through the nose. And then let it all go. Good. Releasing now the effort of your breath, but starting to breathe as much as you can through your nose, placing your hands on your belly. And starting to feel your breath as it moves in and out to and from your belly. After a few rounds of breath, you might start to notice your body being able to soften and relax a little bit. Follow that, allow that. There will be times throughout today's practice where we want to engage muscle and move with that strong muscle, but there'll be other times where it's more helpful to relax the muscles for the movement. So we want to start our practice today noticing the level of tension that's already existing with the body. It's very common. Most of us kind of move through our day with a level of tension in the body. So we're just taking a moment here to register that. You know, what's feeling kind of tense or grippy? I can notice my neck's feeling a little tight. You might notice your belly feeling a little tight. There might be some tightness in the low back or the hips or down the legs. Just notice for yourself where there's some tension. But then also start to notice where there might not be some tension, where you're feeling maybe soft and easy and relaxed. Even if it's just a small little place like your cheeks or your forehead. Just notice those places that are already experiencing some ease. Hmm. On your next inhale, now take your chin up towards the ceiling, just as high as is comfortable, being mindful of the neck here. If you have any injuries or osteoporosis, you might not lift the chin very high. You might work more to sit taller and longer through your neck. On your next exhale, you can maybe let your chin drop towards your chest, again, being attentive to what's appropriate for your neck. Inhale, lift the chin up. Exhale, tuck the chin down. Inhale, lift the chin up. And exhale, tuck it down. A couple more times like this. We're just kind of saying hello to the muscles through the face and the neck, through the shoulders. Just some gentle motion here. Bringing the head back to center. Let's turn it now towards the right, turning your head towards the right. And then back to center. And turning your head towards the left. And back to center. And now when you come to center, we're going to turn again towards the right, but I want you to imagine the tip of your nose was like a little jiffy marker, and you're going to try to draw a line as straight over to the right as you can. So there's no kind of zigzagging up and down. Think about the horizon line. You want to try to draw a straight line over to the right side. And then follow that straight line as you track back to the center. And the same thing here as we go to the left. Think straight line, really guide from the tip of your nose. And you notice how when you do that, you probably have to slow down a little bit. That's good. Let's draw that straight line back to center. Nice. With that same sense of a little black jiffy marker at the tip of your nose, now start to draw tiny little circles with your nose. Whatever direction you're going, keep drawing circles in that direction, but make them as tiny little circles in front of you as you can. Notice your breathing here. Sustain that breath. Nice long breaths in and out. Soften your jaw. And start to let those little circles grow. Start to let them become bigger, bigger. Bigger. Again, being attentive to what is appropriate for your neck. You're making now as big a circle here with the nose as you can. So we're moving that head around on the very top of the neck. And then whatever direction you're going now, pause there and reverse the direction, keeping that big circle. So as big as you can, but going the opposite way. So there's a real correlation between the tension in the face, the jaw, the neck, right on down into the shoulders and the chest, even down the arms into the hands and into our breathing. That's why we're starting here by warming up the neck, getting the muscles of the neck and face kind of warmed up, willing to move. With those big circles now, you're going to start to shrink them back down a little bit at a time, not a very fast shrink, just nice and slow, kind of spiraling in towards the tiniest little circle. Tiniest little circle. Nice. And then pausing for a moment here, sitting tall. And let's drop that right ear slowly to the right side. So it's coming down towards the right shoulder. Letting maybe that left arm hanging, let it hang beside you. Accentuate the stretch down the left side of the neck. And you might bring your left hand back up onto your lap, bring your head back into center, and then tilt it over so the left ear comes towards the left shoulder. Maybe that right arm dangles down. You're gonna bring the right hand back up. Let's bring the head back to center. And one more time, we're gonna tilt the head towards the right here. Now again, you could let your left arm dangle down beside you. You might now take that right arm up and over and rest it across the head onto the left side. Just adding a little bit of weight to the head. All right, if your right hand is rested there, release your right hand into your lap, then bring your left hand back up, then bring your head back into center. Good, and then let's tilt the head the other way. Tilt it to the left side. Maybe your right arm drops down. Maybe your left arm wraps up and over. Again, you're only going to where it feels okay for you. And you hold there, you breathe there. Yeah, let's bring the left hand into the lap, right hand into the lap, head back up into center. Good. And then to just explore a little bit here of some motion in your neck. Move the head around a little bit, see how it feels. Okay, we're gonna do a little bit more now for the face. So as I mentioned, the tension that we hold in our face really affects down through the throat and neck, which then affects through the shoulders, arms, and up into the upper chest. So let's do a little yoga here for the face. So we're gonna start first by taking eyebrows up and down, just the eyebrows up and down as best you can. I won't ask you to do one at a time. Maybe you can. I don't have that capacity, but We'll do both up and down. Good. Then we're going to accentuate that motion. So the next time the eyebrows come down, close the eyes and scrunch them up. Then as the eyebrows lift, open the eyes really wide. Then drop the eyebrows down, scrunch up those eyes, close them nice and tight, and then lift the eyebrows up and open up the eyes. Good. Scrunch it in now. Scrunch it really tight, and now pull your nose in really tight. Maybe purse your lips a little bit. Make the face like you kind of ate a very, very, very sour lemon. Make your face really kind of pull into center. Then we're going to do the opposite. Open the eyes, lift the eyebrows, open the mouth, everything as wide as you can. Again, pull it all in like that sour lemon. Pull it all in really, really tight in the face. Now bring it out, widen it all out. Open the mouth, open the eyes, nice and big. Good. Then release it all, let it settle back into a space that feels kind of natural. Beautiful. Let's take hands onto the hips here, and we'll start to roll the shoulders a few times. We're going to get into those shoulders today, so I do want to take some time to warm them up. Rolling those shoulders up, back, and down. Then rolling them the other way, take them back, up, and forward. Good. Then we'll take the right shoulder. So just the right shoulder, we're going to take it up and down. Just the right shoulder. Just exploring the motion of that shoulder going up and down. And noticing for yourself if if the head moves with the shoulder or if the other shoulder adjusts as you lift the right shoulder, this is just going to let you know of some kind of tension in that place, some tightness. But we're trying to isolate the motion of that right shoulder. We do a lot of these moves right now in our dance class because we're working on our belly dancing. So a lot of isolation in our dance class. Good for the joints. All right, let's take that right shoulder, let it drop down, and now move into the left shoulder. Just the left shoulder goes up and down. Yeah, notice if you kind of scrunch your head over to the left as you lift the shoulder. Try to keep your head upright and just move the shoulder. Good. Now let's take both shoulders up and down together, up and down. Good. We're going to move in with a little breath now. As you inhale, draw the shoulders up and then let the shoulders drop as you exhale. Inhale, shoulders up. Exhale, let them drop. Inhale, up, then let them drop. Let's keep going. Nice, strong breaths out the mouth. Good. 3 more. Last one. Now inhale, shoulders up to the ears. Big, big, big breath in. Shoulders high towards the ears. Hold the breath in. Now you're slowly going to take the breath out the nose as you let your shoulders draw back down. Good job. Okay, releasing your hands from your hips. Now bring them forward onto your knees, creating as much length and straightness through your arms as you can. Then we're going to take that rib cage and start to slide it from side to side. Maybe allowing your head to tick-tock in the opposite direction of that rib cage. Good. Good. Then let's try to make some circles with that rib cage, moving as best you can from the upper half of your torso, just trying to circle that rib cage around a few times. Let the head and neck still stay quite soft. They might kind of wobble with the motion of the circle. Then let's take that circle the other way. Good. Beautiful. Bring your chest back into center. We're going to take that circle now down into the hips. So nothing else is going to change, but instead of rotating from the rib cage, think about kind of rolling your hips on the chair. I like to think of my hips here like a bowl, and I'm starting to turn that bowl around, sort of sloshing. If I thought I sort of had some fluid in that bowl, and I'm sort of sloshing it around the edges of the bowl. Good. Then let's circle the hips the other way. Good. And before we start to focus on the shoulders, let's get a little bit more down into the legs, give them some time. So hands back on the hips here as you sit tall, and just start to do a little bit of toe tapping here, side to side, just a little bit of toe tapping, feeling the use of your calf muscles as you do this. Good. Then let the toes rest and start to do some heel tapping. So lifting and lowering the alternate heels here from side to side. Sometimes I think of it more like heel stomping. You should have stomping your heels on the floor. Good. And we're creating a little vibration up the legs. Good. Now we're going to go back to toe tapping. Good. Back to heel stomping. Good. Now let's go back and forth on both feet together. So in tandem, we're going to rock the feet from heel to toes, back and forth. Good. Next time you come onto your toes, keep your heels lifted, walk the feet in a little bit so the toes are more underneath your knees, and you're right up on those toes as best you can, starting to circle your heels here. So we're moving the legs in tandem like they're one unit, and we're circling the heels around, getting into those ankles. And remember, everything in the body is connected. So even while we're working here in the feet, we're going to have effect up in the upper half of the body. Good. Let's circle the other way. Heels moving in the opposite direction now. Good. Let's bring those heels back to center. Walk the feet again forward. So as your heels come down, they come down right below your knees. Heel toeing the feet out wide now. Walk your feet out as wide as you comfortably can bring them. So they only go to where your hips allow. So depending on what's going on in your hips, your legs might not go very far. That is okay. Wherever you are, keep your hands resting there on your hips and keep your shoulders drawn back. And we're going to lift both heels again off the floor, coming up onto toes, starting to turn on the inner thigh muscles of the legs. So these muscles are a little bit more challenging to get working because we don't actually do a whole lot in our modern day to get those muscles to work. So we're going to do a little deliberate effort here. So heels are lifted, toes are on the floor, and you're going to keep your knees over your toes. They're not falling in. Good. One more breath like this. Then allow your heels to come to the ground. Beautiful. Bring your hands onto your knees and lean now halfway forward. All right, let's start working a little bit more in that upper back space. We're going to take the right shoulder down and across as though it was going to touch that left kneecap. It doesn't have to, don't worry. But we're going to start to stretch through the back here. Holding as we cross the body, right shoulder towards the left. Good. Let's come back up into center now. Left shoulder crosses over towards the right knee. Holding here. Feeling that diagonal stretch down the back of the body. And again, come through center. Then right shoulder, left knee. Holding, breathing. Last time, inhale, back up into center. Left shoulder, right knee, crossing over, holding here. Beautiful. Come back through your center. This time, bring yourself onto your elbows if that's available. If not, you might stay up onto your hands. That's fine too. We're going to keep the left elbow or hand where it is and drop that right arm so it's sort of dangling down towards the floor. So that right arm is dangling straight down from the right shoulder. And like a kind of an elephant's tusk, we're going to sway it from side to side. Now watch as you sway your arm. Sometimes we just sway from the elbow. Keep the arm relatively kind of soft, but moving more from your shoulder, back and forth from the shoulder. And just see how that feels. Your motion might be small. That's okay. That's plenty. Any little bit of movement is great. Work where you are. You might stay here from this side to side motion, or you might start to take now that right arm over to the left and up, circling it up and around, and then back down. So you might be taking big circles here with that right arm, or you might stay with the side to side swaying of the arm. We're just looking for some motion in that shoulder joint. Good. Let's do one more circle if you're doing circles. Beautiful. Then let that right arm again hang down. Let it swing. Good. Then bring your right elbow up onto your right knee, or maybe it's your right hand. Then let that left arm dangle and give it a little shake. Let it really release out of the shoulder for a moment. Good. Then a little sway, and kind of depending again about what the support is like in your shoulder. It might be just a bit of motion, not a big motion. That's okay. Good. Now you might start to sway the arm a little bit more from side to side, exploring the feeling through the shoulder joint, or you now might start to take that arm into big circles, sweeping from left to right, up and open, then back down. Good. Okay, watch the tendency here to bend the elbow as the arm comes up. Try to keep the arm pretty straight. Move from that shoulder as best you can. Good, one more circle like this. Then bring that left arm back down, let it sway. Good, then bring the elbow onto the thigh, coming back into the centered position. You could stay here, especially if you have any concerns for blood pressure, or you might fold a little deeper, letting your hands come onto your shins, ankles, or the floor, and then letting your head hang. Now be mindful again, if you do have blood pressure concerns, you want to keep your head above your heart. Otherwise, let that head drop. Breathing here. Beautiful. If your hands are on your legs or on the floor, bring them back up onto your knees. Slowly ease yourself all the way back up to seated. Take your time. Bring some big breaths back into the body here as we come up. Settle those shoulders. Okay. If you have a yoga block, go ahead and grab it. If you don't, you can grab a book if you have it, or if you don't, I'll give you an option if you don't have props. Bring your legs back to about hip distance apart. Okay, and we're going to start first with the prop. Whatever you have is kind of its longest part, its longest width from side to side. One hand on each end. So you want about like it's a book length, kind of a book length from top to bottom of a book. So sort of this way from side to side. Yep. You can start with your elbows bent here, and we're going to work a little bit on that muscle engagement and release. So hands are on the sides here of whatever prop you're using, and you're going to start to press into your hand. Now watch, sometimes when we go to press in the hands, the elbows want to open out. Keep your elbows tucked in and press through the hands. Notice all the muscles that are working now, up through the arms, into the shoulders, into the chest, into the back. Now notice as well, if your jaw is clenching, try to relax your jaw. You don't need that clenching. Notice if you've got kind of some muscles on one side working harder than other muscles, try to turn both sides on. All muscles here working that are needed. Okay. Keep pressing into the side of that prop, and now start to straighten your arms forward as best you can. They don't have to come perfectly straight. Then you're going to bend your elbows and slide that prop back towards you. I'll turn sideways so you can sort of see here. The key is to keep that effort of pressing into your prop as you then slide the prop forward. So not up. It's not going up. It's just going straight ahead And then bringing it back. Good. How's your breathing here? Take that prop straight forward, back. Nice. One more time. Let's go forward. Pause forward now, just as far as is comfortable for you. You could hang out here. As you can tell, there's a fair bit of work of sustaining that effort with the block slightly forward. If you want to add a little challenge, you could start to lift the block up without bending your elbows, keeping that effort in the hands. I will let you know now, as you go to lift the block up, somewhere along the way, that pressure of the hands is going to want to release. So pause a little before that and keep the effort in the hands. Good. How's the breathing here? Nice. Let's slowly lower that back down. Slowly guide it back in. Placing your prop on your lap for a moment, let your arms hang at your sides. Give the shoulders a little wiggle. Check it out. Okay. When we start to work in specific parts of the body like this, it is very, very common that we start to hold our breath. It's kind of like this misunderstanding in the brain that to focus, we need to hold our breath, but it's actually the opposite. Keep your breath moving as you focus in on your motion, okay? All right, here is the fun part. So you're going to take your prop, whatever it is, onto the palm of your hand, and I'm going to come forward so you can sort of see. So the prop is going to sit on the palm of your hand, widest, flattest part on your hand. So not on its edge, but widest, flattest part. Okay. I'm going to stay close so you can see a bit more. And we're going to start with the motion. There's two parts to this motion. One part goes up, one part goes down. We're going to start with the part that goes up. So notice here, I have my elbow bent. My fingers are starting by pointing straight forward. So you start here like this. Then from the wrist only, you're going to turn the block out towards your side. So I'm in my right hand. If you're using your right hand, you're turning the block out or the prop out to the right. Okay. Then you're going to rotate from the side around behind you. Now, this is where the elbow might start to come in. We are trying to keep that elbow tucked in as you bring the block to face now behind you. Yeah, notice how the hand starts to tilt. Try to keep the palm flat. Try not to grasp onto your prop if you can help it. Sometimes we need to, and that's okay. All right, we're going to continue that rotation now. As the fingers come in towards the right ear, the elbow opens out. Yeah, Kathleen, that's where I think that prop you have there might be a little challenging because it's so long. You just gauge that for yourself. You go to where you can. Good. And then we're going to start to maybe, this is the sticky point for many people. You might start to continue to rotate those fingers around and forward. So we've made a full circle here, and the elbow is kind of pointing up now. The elbow is up now. Good. Now we're going to track it back. So bring the block back, fingers turn towards your head, then around behind you, then out to the side, then around in front. Okay. I'm going to take this up so I can see everybody. Okay. Let's try that again. Okay. Block in the palm of the hand. Key is to know where your fingers are pointing. So your fingers are starting by pointing straight forward. All right, we're moving from the fingers. Fingers go out to the right. So out to the side. Stay with me here. We're going to go out to the side. Then we're going to turn it around behind. So you can think of one of those really well-trained waiters. Yeah, anywhere along here is good. You might be working back and forth from this place to this place, from forward to side to back. That's got a lot of motion in it, okay? But if you have your fingers pointing behind you, think of sort of one of those well-trained waiters where they've got the tray and their arm is like just like this, right? And they're holding it steady. So now you're going to turn that tray in towards your head, fingertips towards your head, maybe, maybe. This is a lot. We're asking a lot of the wrist, the elbow, the shoulders here. Then you might continue that rotation around towards the front. Falling blocks is part of this practice. So if things fall, that's okay. It's part of how this goes. Good. Then we're going to track back. We're going to take the block back around, pointing it towards the head, then behind, then out to the side, then around in front. Voila. We return to starting. Okay, did anyone notice if they breathed at all while we did that? Okay, let's all take a big breath in. Big breath out. We're going to switch hands because that arm's probably got enough work for now. Don't worry, we're going to come back to it. We're not done. Yeah, we're just starting. Okay, good. So we have the block now on the palm of the left hand or the opposite hand, and the fingers again are pointing straight forward. Good. We're going to take those fingers and turn them out to the side. So we're turning the block away from the body. Good. Then we're going to turn that block to point behind. Yeah. Now notice the elbow might start to come in play as we start to turn that block in towards the head. So make sure you didn't just come kind of back. Stay going around in that circle. Then it might come around towards the front. So I notice definitely my left side is more restricted than my right side. So we're all going to have kind of different there. If you have it sort of facing front, you're going to turn it back towards your face, back towards the space behind you, then around in front. Yeah, let's try that again. Okay, so facing forward, we're going to turn it out to the side. And like I said, depending on what's going on in your joints, you might be working from forward to side, in and out like that. You might be working from forward side to back and going back and forth like that. That's great. Okay, or you might be going from forward to side to back to in, and that's a lot. The side to back to in, that's a lot. Yeah. Then you might be working from in around to the front. And notice I can see it in my own body, but you're starting to lean over to the side to make room. Try to stay straight up. Really require that shoulder to do the work here. Okay, then we turn back towards the face, back towards the space behind you. I know this is so much work on the shoulder. Out to the side and around in front. Yeah, it's good. It's good. Try to remember this is just for fun. You know, if the blocks fall, if it doesn't go very far, it's okay. We're just checking it out. We're like, hey, what's happening in my shoulder today? All right, let's do one more on that left side. So we balance it out. So we started forward. We're going to go out to the side. We're going to go around behind. Good work. We're going to go in towards the face. Maybe around in front. Good work. And for a little added juice, if you're like, yeah, this is no problem, you might start to keep the block facing forward and lift it up a little. If it wasn't challenging before, it is now. Yeah, good. Then bring it back down. Then turn it back in towards the face, around behind you, and around towards the front. Let's take the block down for a moment. Take a big breath. Okay, couple things here. I'm going to point out some ways that we accommodate tightness. If you need to accommodate it, it is okay to do, but be aware of that's what you're doing. So one of the first ways is we start to grip the block with our hands. So instead of letting the block balance, which is part of the practice, you might start to kind of hold the block on one side and take the rotation. That's just indicating some stiffness or tightness through the hand and wrist. That's okay. You just notice if you're doing that. The other compensation, like I mentioned, is to lean the body out and kind of take this action out to the side. That is also indicating probably a fair bit of tightness in the shoulder. All right. So again, because this is your practice, right? So you might decide this is enough. I might just work here today, right? You might work just on this upper half. If it was pretty sticky for you, which it is for most of us, you could just work here. This is fine. But as I mentioned, there was a second half. There's a downward motion. So I'm going to move back a little bit, but I want to stay close so you can see. We're going to take the block back into the right palm. So you want to imagine that you just did this upward motion and you came back to your starting position. The downward motion is to take the block now in. This is fun and it's a little harder in the chair, but you take the elbow out to the side, and Kathleen, that's where that long prop's going to be really challenging because you bring it around towards your rib cage, then out behind you, then out to the side and around in front. I know I make it sound so easy, but it's very challenging and I can feel my block is just teetering on falling off. Good. And notice how much I'm leaning here. So this is telling me I got a fair bit of tightness in that shoulder, but we're probably going to need to lean a little to do this. So now your block is going to go back to the side. So out to the side, around into the center, in towards your body and forward. Just thinking now, for some of you who have, it's a little less balance practice, but if you have a ball instead of a block, you could use a ball. Holding that ball in the hand, you're going to turn it in towards the side of your rib cage, out behind you, out to the side and around and forward as best you can. Then you bring it back, around, in, and forward. The ball is a little easier because of the distance of the block you need to get it kind of around under your shoulder. Could be a fair bit. If you find that a lot, use a ball. Ball comes in first. So it's the opposite of going up. Up, we go out first. Down, we go in, then back, then out, then around in front. Then we go out to the side, into the rib cage, and forward. Give that jaw wiggle. Good. Let's switch hands. So just because I started with my block on the other hand, I'm going to use my block here, but you could always use the block, the ball if it feels better. So we're on the left hand now, or the opposite, whatever you didn't do, we're going to do that side. Pointing the fingers forward. This time they start by turning in. They're going under the arm to point behind you, then around to your sides, then around in front. Yes, good work. Good. Then it's going to point back behind you. Good. Underneath the arm as it turns into the rib cage and around in front. Good. All right. So you might be using the ball. We're going to take it into the rib cage. If you're using a ball, I'm going to encourage you to keep the arm as close to the body as you can. Good. Then back around, in and forward. Falling blocks are part of the practice, so it's okay. Yeah, it's all part of it. Good. One more time. Let's take it into the rib cage. So elbow goes out, hand comes in. Hand rotates behind, elbow comes around in front. So the elbow starting to point forward as the hand points back. Then we take it out to the side and we sweep it around. And again, for a little added challenge, you might take the arm up a little. These are all options. Bring it back down. Good. All right. Anywhere along any of that, if you want to stay there and work there a few more times, please do. Do not feel like you have to come along on everything we do if it's not working for you today. Wherever it's got a little stickiness, a little challenge for you, that's great. That's the spot to work at. I am going to show you the next kind of way of practicing it. But again, if that's not going to work for you, stay where you are. So, of course, we did an upward motion. We did a downward motion. Now we're going to join them together as one big motion. So, palm of the hand, block or ball, facing forward. Find your breath. Take that hand and turn it out to the side. Rotate it behind you like you're serving. Good. Then take it in towards your face, maybe. Then around in front. There goes my block. There we go. Like I said, falling blocks is part of the practice. Good. Then you bring it around towards your face. then out to the side, then forward, then in towards your rib cage. So it's going to come underneath the arm and out to the side and in front. Then back out to the side, underneath the arm, woohoo, and forward. I know, it's a lot. All right, let's just do the left side because we have to balance it out, and then we'll move on. Good. Left hand, left the block or ball in that hand. Good. Now we're going to take that hand and turn it out to the left. Stay with me. You got it. Good. Turn it around behind you. This is plenty. You could work there. That is great. You might turn it in towards your face. Yep. You might start to turn it around in front. Good. Then bring it back towards your face, around behind you, to the side, and forward. Then we bring it in towards the rib cage, underneath the arm, behind you, out to the side, and around in front. Good job. Then back to the side. Bend that elbow. Bend that elbow. Good. Bring it behind you, then towards your rib cage. Go slow. Down in front. Oh, put the block down. Let it go. Take a deep breath in through the nose. Let it out through the mouth. Good. Take another deep breath in through the nose. Let it go and let the arms hang at your sides. Good. Next inhale, take both arms out and up just as high as is comfortable. Then as you breathe out, let those arms come down. Again, inhale, take those arms out and up just gently as high as is comfortable. And out and down. Nice. This time as you inhale, take the arms level with your shoulders, or maybe a little lower, that's fine. The right arm is going to cross in front. You're going to take your left hand to the top of your right arm towards the outside of that shoulder and draw the right arm across your body. So you're creating a bit of a stretch in that right arm. We're going to hold here and breathe. Try to soften through the jaw, through the face. Good. Let's open those arms back up. Big, broad arms. Then that left arm crosses over front, kind of holds onto the right shoulder. Then the right hand comes underneath to the outside of that left arm, and then we start to draw that left arm across. Nice. Inhale, broad arms, big, wide-reaching arms. Exhale, let them down. Bring those hands back onto your knees, and let's again walk the feet wide apart. Coming into a bit of a forward fold here. Good. You could stay up onto your hands if that feels better for you. It's better for your spine, your back, or come a little lower down onto your elbows if that feels okay. We're going to take that right arm and once again, let it dangle. Okay, with the dangling right arm, start to draw some circles with that right hand. So I like to think of this, if you've ever done construction work or watched construction work happen and they have those chalk lines or those plumb lines that kind of just dangle and draw. That's what this arm is sort of doing. You want to think of it kind of really passively hanging and circling from that shoulder. And then let's try circling the other way. So this, we're not doing big draping circles. This is a small little dangling circle down towards the ground. The passive release for that shoulder. Good. Then we'll bring the right elbow back up onto that right thigh or right hand, and then drop that left arm down. Give it a little shake, let it hang. Good. And then you might start to find some of those very gentle circles with that left arm. And then circle the other way. Then bring that left hand back up onto the left knee. Take your right hand now, bring it up onto the right thigh. Roll that right shoulder back and gently twist towards your right. You can keep your right hand on your right knee, or you might extend that right arm up towards the sky. Your shoulder's been doing a lot of work today, so if you'd rather keep your hand down, that is okay. And if your right arm is lifted, let your right hand back down onto your right knee. Then let your right elbow come back down, and we'll switch sides. Left hand, left knee. Roll that left shoulder back and gently twist to look towards your left. And you might take that left arm up. You might keep it down. Wherever you are, though, really stay present now with your breath as we start to release some of the tension, release any sort of sensations we built up, try to let them go. Letting that left arm down if it was lifted. Bringing your right hand up onto your right knee, come back to center, and then slowly ease yourself back up. Walking the feet back in so they're about hip distance apart. Bringing your arms around in front and interlacing those fingers, pressing the palms now forward. Now, if interlacing fingers is not an option for you, you could hold on to one wrist with the other hand. Then you might stay here. This is great. Or you might start to take the arms towards the sky. Watch those shoulders. Try not to let them lift. Sit tall wherever you are and make some length through the rib cage. Think about each rib and creating more space between each rib. Then you're going to release your hands, bringing your left hand onto your right thigh. Your right arm might drape around behind you or rest onto your right hip as you twist now to look towards your right. Then take both arms up or out in front. Big breath in. Then we're going to go the other way. Right hand, left thigh. Left hand might drape behind you or on your hip as you twist towards your left. Beautiful. Inhale, both arms back up or out in front. And then as you exhale, take those arms wide one more time. Well, actually, the second last time. Then we're going to wrap the arms around in front. Wrap one arm over the other. Give yourself a little bear hug and a little rock from side to side. Good. Let's, again, open those arms wide. Wrap the other arm on top, other arm underneath. One more bear hug like this, and then rock. You might notice your hands are feeling quite warm right now. We've got some opening in the shoulders, some blood flowing. This is a good sign. Good. Open those arms again, nice and wide, and then float them down to your side. And I'm going to encourage you to stay seated for Savasana today if you'd like. If you'd prefer to sit or lie on the floor, you're welcome. But you could take a pillow behind your back, maybe one underneath your feet, or some blocks. Making sure here, the essential part is I want to make sure your spine feels supported. So either on the floor or in your chair, let your back feel supported. Rest your arms. And we're going to do a few rounds now of our Bhramari breath, our humming bumblebee breath. So once you are settled into your Savasana, close your eyes. Rest your tongue very softly to the roof of your mouth and take a natural breath in. Then as you breathe out, begin to hum. And we're going to continue to breathe like that, letting yourself Brahmari breath at your own pace. Let's do 3 more like this. Let your tongue drop down from the roof of your mouth now. Let go of any effort to your breath. Feel your arms grow heavy as those shoulders now completely relax. Let's take a few moments here to be still and quiet, and I'll bring us back when it's time to close the practice. allowing your body to continue to rest. Take a soft, slow breath in through your nose and let it tumble out the mouth. Let's do that a couple more times. Easy but full breath in through the nose. Gentle release of the breath out the mouth. One more like that. And then starting to move your hands, curling fingers in and out. Maybe wiggle your toes. Maybe start to explore a soft, slow motion of the head, turning from one side to the other. If you are on the floor, if you chose to take your Savasana on the floor, you could bend your knees now and roll to your side and come to sit up on your mat or back in your chair. If you are sitting in the chair, you can gently start to fold forward just a little bit. You might prop yourself up onto your elbows. If you have a pillow in your lap, you might use that. Let your head hang for a moment. Feel really gentle and soft through your spine. Very released feeling, very receptive feeling. And then slowly make your way up to sit tall, removing your props, whatever you were using, putting them off to the side so you can come forward in your chair, sitting with your feet flat on the floor, spine tall, shoulders resting down the back. Folding hands together now in front of the heart, palms to touch. Bow your head down towards your heart and allow a warm feeling of thankfulness to fill you up, to thank your body, your shoulders, for doing all that they could for you today already. I know deeply down our bodies don't always do what we wish they could, but they truly are doing their best for us each and every day. And so to that, we bow the head, we say thank you. Thank you all so much for coming to practice yoga today and for sticking around and playing and maybe trying something new. Thank you all. Namaste.